Some of you are legit crazy. You know that, right? Like, I'm not talking about just a contrarian school of thought. I'm talking about a legit chemical imbalance where you are just having a full-blown relationship with people in your mind. Right? Like, do you have that awareness about yourself, some of you? Do you get that? Like, some of you are legit crazy. So there are varying degrees of crazy. There's the degree of crazy to where you are absolutely living in a different version of reality, but that's heart-centered. Yeah? Some of you are living in chemically imbalanced distortion land, just for the record. So, and there's a difference, right? Can you see the difference? Can you see the difference between, like, when the world says to you, hey, you've lost your mind, right? Do you understand that if you lose your mind and you gain your heart, that's a blessing? But when somebody says to you, you've really lost your mind because you're just living in some alternate fantastical reality that isn't based in anything real or true, then that's something that you have to look at. Do you see the distinction? Do you see how important it is to have that level of self-awareness? Especially about yourself, yeah? Where am I coming from? Am I coming from a place of contrarian thinking and contrarian being, right? Which is basically, am I living from my heart? Or am I observing the world through an imbalance or a distortion? And how you know the difference is when there is no basis in reality for the delusion or the distortion. Do you see that? When there's no basis in reality, when you are just engaging in a fantastical way of living that has no basis in reality, right? Do you see that? And it's interesting because I think that at some point we have to figure out with absolute clarity who we are, how we are, and where we are, right? In our evolution, with honesty. Yeah, with honesty. Because in some cases, you're not helping yourself by having no basis in reality for what's unfolding in your life. Okay? And I think to a certain degree, we're all crazy, right? So there's that too. Yeah? Like, there's that too. To a certain degree, we are all crazy. It's like but I just want to define what that word means so that we can get clear about what that is. Yeah? So there are distinctions. The first distinction is when so someone says you're crazy. Like, I've been called crazy before, right? Like, someone says, Panache, you're just crazy, right? But what are they saying to me? What they're saying to me is, wow, how you view the world is so fundamentally different than how I view and experience the world. Do you see that? That's different than my having a legitimate chemical imbalance and then proceeding to have a full-blown relationship in my mind with something that is never going to happen and something that isn't real. Do you see the distinction? Yeah. So there's a form of losing your mind that's beneficial. And then there's a form of losing your mind that doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve you. Do you see that? Do you see the distinction? It's nice to clarify that. And it's nice to be aware of that within oneself. Because currently, if you are living in your own delusional reality that has no basis in reality at all, well, then there's something that you're avoiding dealing with inside of you. Or what's happened is there's so much pain and so much trauma, you've fragmented. So the interesting thing is that in spirituality, for example, or in shamanism, or in any path of integration, there's no such thing as crazy. Yeah? There's also no such thing as a mental health issue, right? It's just aspects of ourselves that have become so repressed and so denied that they've become fragmented.